Welcome to Celebrating Act 2. Celebrating Act 2 is the user manual for the second half of your life.
Welcome back. We're with Manny Pacheco again, John Coleman, my partner, and I just at Celebrating Act 2, loving every time we speak to Manny. And what are we going to talk about today?
Well, Manny, we're all hunkered down. How about you? What are you doing with your time?
Well, first, let me just say the whole world is hunkered down. There isn't anybody I haven't spoken to that is just bored and celebrating cabin fever. That's what they're celebrating. But I know how to keep busy. I'm a professor at two colleges, so I'm able to do my online classes
Mm,
on Monday and Wednesday.
Good.
And I'm also doing my KNX traffic reports on Sunday from home now. So, I mean, at
Right.
least 3 of my days I'm pretty
so
busy.
what do you do
And
from home? Are you just making up the traffic?
no, no, no. I've got all the bells and whistles to tell me where the traffic problems are.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy. But one other thing I'm doing is, of course, as you know, I've written a Forgotten Hollywood book series, so that my
Uh,
sister and I are collaborating on a book. So I've been putting together the layout of the new book and selecting photos from the Library of Congress and the National Archives. And fortunately, a lot of these repositories are online, so I'm able to look. And basically, I've been chained to my computer for the whole week.
so
Yeah, but
you might say that even though you're hunkered down, you're not going to be forgotten Manny,
No,
right?
you
you
interrupted
had
John
fun.
with that.
So, Manny, this new book that you're working on, is it going to be another Forgotten Hollywood series?
Well, it's going to be part of the series, but it's going to be a little bit different. I've written 2,100 blogs over the last 10 to 11 years. My sister read every single one of them, God bless her. And she's picked out about 150 of the best blogs, and we're turning it into a book called Forgotten Hollywood. Beware of the blog. So
That's a
it's
great
got some,
title.
yeah, it's got some great stories that just popped up, and I was fortunate to catch them and put them in a blog. So pretty excited about that. I think it'll be out next year.
It's a
Great.
great idea for a book because your website, your Facebook page, and all your blogging are really terrific. You do it quite often, and you have wonderful stories that you cover in there. So it's going to be a great book. But
Well,
speaking of hunkered down,
yeah.
what can we do? Which movies should we watch for this occasion? Because my wife's out in the other room watching a good old movie now.
Well,
Well, yeah, yeah, Art, go ahead.
before you even go, I have about a year and a half ago, I saved on my DVR. I don't know why. I just like Matt Damon, The Martian. So
Oh,
you talk about
that
being.
if you want to feel claustrophobic, that's the way to do it, right there.
So I'm
That is,
yeah. So I'm waiting for another 3 or 4 weeks when I may actually feel really hungered down, and I'm going to watch that so that I know that we have an endpoint. I think coming in a couple of weeks or months, but he didn't necessarily have an endpoint.
yeah, that was a
No,
great movie.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
and there are other movies that are hunkered down movies.
Well,
Uh,
if you really want to feel claustrophobic, you can always watch The Room, the Brie Larson
oh,
vehicle. Of course, she won the Academy Award for that. It pretty much takes place in one room, and with her and her character child, it was. If you want to really get claustrophobic, that's the movie to watch. But speaking of being home alone and hunkered down, of course, the Macaulay Culkin series, that's always really fun, especially if this lasts into Christmas, because then you capture the whole Christmas spirit as well.
yeah. So
And
my favorite movie for hunkered down is Key Largo.
oh yeah,
Uh, they're let's see, it's Bogey, and by the way, Bogey and Robinson, Bogey Bacall and Robinson, all in the same film. Did Humphrey Bogart and Edward G. Robinson appear in any other movies together? I don't think
oh,
so.
a number of movies,
Oh,
Bullets or
did they?
Ballets, Brother Orchid. They appeared in about 5 or 6 movies. The difference in this movie is that usually Edward G. Robinson played the anti-hero, and it was Bogey who was the real bad guy. In this particular movie, they reversed roles. Bogey got to be the hero, and Edward
Yes.
Robinson got to be the gangster. One other person in that movie that I just love, of course, I write about, and of course, we're doing a documentary on, is Lionel Barrymore. So
Yes.
yeah, he's in it as well. It's a great movie. They're stuck in a hotel, and of course a hurricane's coming, and of course you've got the menacing gangster and his group, all
Johnny Rocco. Johnny
Johnny
Rocco.
Rocco.
Oh, watch out. Johnny Rocco's coming.
Maybe they'll bring back Prohibition. It was good. It was good for the gangsters when they had Prohibition. Another movie that I think it takes place in a house, just two actors, really tour de force with Michael Caine and Laurence Olivier, and then of course the remake with Jude Law and Michael Caine, Sleuth.
Yes.
Sleuth. Oh, what a great movie!
Yeah, interesting how in the remake, what was in the 80s was the remake? I don't know what year it was.
Late '80s, early '90s, something like that.
Yeah, in the remake, in the original, Michael Caine played the young bad guy, if you will. Of course,
Right.
nobody's good in this movie, and in the remake, he plays the older guy. He
Right.
switches roles. Yeah,
That's well, he aged.
yeah, that's true. But it's great to see them both. If you could see them back to back, it's fun.
Oh,
And they're really different movies,
and
made
and of
different.
course, in the original, Michael Caine and Laurence Olivier both were nominated for Academy Awards. So, really great movie. And one other movie I want to mention. It's a long movie. Most of it takes place outdoors, but if you watch "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World," that great set of scenes with Edie Adams and Sid Caesar as they are locked in a do-it-yourself, Home Depot-esque kind of place where they're locked in. They can't get out. Talk about being hunkered down. They're basically hunkered down with lots of equipment and tools.
My
Yeah.
actually favorite scene of that one was in the hospital room where they kept
Yes.
inadvertently pulling out the plug and he's dying and coming back and dying and coming back. I think that was that movie, right?
No,
No?
but that's okay. It's a good scene.
No. But what movie is that from? It was Sid Caesar on the bed.
Oh yeah, that was Mel Brooks and
Ah,
Silent Mo- Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, you see,
And you can quiz me. I'm not. I normally know the answer,
but that was a
but
great
I
that was a great scene
didn't.
if it were that movie.
Has nothing to do with the topic, but it is a great
Yeah.
scene. Must admit. Let me recommend for folks. I've been seeing this a lot on Facebook that people are having actual watch parties amongst themselves. It's virtual. You actually sit around and you get to watch movies together at the same time, and they'll watch it on Facebook, or I think they're doing a watch party today on Facebook for one of the classic films. And folks are doing that. They're doing that for a lot of things. I've been seeing like virtual karaoke parties. I know that a film festival, the Real Abilities Disability Film Festival in New York, is going on. It's happening right now, virtually. It's not happening on the streets of New York, but it's happening across the country, and it's happening virtually.
Manny?
So, and TCM. One more thing I want to point out: TCM is going to also have their tribute to their film festival as a virtual experience in a couple of weeks. So there are ways for people to hunker down and watch some great classic films.
So
That's good.
on the Facebook, do you know on that watch party where do they link to the movie from?
I haven't actually joined one yet. I think they just they run it online, and then people just sign up to a group. It's like a classic film group. There'll be
Hmm.
movies of the '30s group, and there'll be, let's say, a Jean Harlow fan club group, or a group dedicated to film noir group. I mean, they have a ton of groups. I belong to several groups. I belong to a Twilight Zone group. I belong to a Dark Shadows group. So a lot of these groups are just having these virtual watch parties within their own group, kind of like an AOL experience. That's what I kind of compare it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
And of course, there's a traditional ways to watch those classic films while you're hunkered down. Of course, if you have a video collection, either a DVD, or even if you have that old VHS machine, you can, if you have the copies of the VHS movies, you can watch them that way. And of course, if you subscribe to TCM, Turner Classic Movies, AMC, Fox Movies has a channel where they play their Fox product and 1940s films, great films that usually star Shirley Temple or Tyrone Power. Betty Grable, Alice Faye, Henry Fonda, those kind of great films from the Fox catalog, and others. Movies channel. There's a channel called Movies where every evening they play their share of classic movies. They don't play them 24/7. And a lot of the premiere channels will play an occasional great film. They'll reach back into the Hitchcock collection or the Universal Horror collection or maybe the James Bond collection. So there are great ways to spend your days if you want to watch movies. My suggestion, you know what? If you can't get something new that you've never done before, something on your bucket list while you're hunkering down, I like to write books. My sister is learning French, and she just started playing the piano after 40 years. So, you know what? I think people can find ways from getting depressed or having cabin fever and simply enjoying your time at home.
Well said, Manny. Very well said. And good advice. I think so. But I'm going to opt for the movies. Thanks.
Well,
That's all right.
why don't we go watch a movie?
We can
Together.
have our celebrating
Separately
Act
together.
Two movie
Festival.
night.
Yeah.
That's right.
Good, Manny. Repeat for us before we say goodbye your Facebook page, etc.
Well, I have a personal Forgotten Hollywood page.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, ForgottenHollywood.com. People can find me at Manny Pacheco or Forgotten Hollywood on Facebook. And of course, my books are available on Amazon. So lots of ways to reach me if you'd like.
Good. And that, of course, is always celebrating Act Two.
Of course.
.com, where you are one of our regular contributors. And there's a reason for that, and that's because it's so much fun talking to you.
And
Well,
by the way, if we haven't mentioned it yet, on our YouTube channel, which is also celebrating Act Two, youtube.com/celebrating Act Two, I have now put up a playlist so people can binge on the Manny Pacheco interviews.
Video. That's
Yeah.
great.
So
They
have
are
you?
binge worthy.
That's a great way to get cabin fever.
All right, Manny, say goodbye and thank you.
Bye.
See y'all.
And don't forget about celebrating Act Two.
Thank you.
For more on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.